Okay, let's talk about the Justice League Snyder Cut. All right, full transparency. I never talk about DCEU properties. I don't think I've reviewed one DCEU movie ever on any of my platforms because I haven't liked most of them. I kind of like Man of Steel. Yeah, that's pretty much it. When it comes to the original Justice League, though, and the movie that leads up to it, which is Batman versus Superman, I didn't like either one of them. I certainly did not like Batman versus Superman. In fact, I hated Batman versus Superman. I thought that movie was complete trash, and I have no time for it. So when the rumblings of the Snyder Cut, when people started talking about the Snyder Cut, probably about 2 years ago online and within the blurred and nerd communities, the Snyder Cut thing was a big deal. It reminds me of when Deadpool, when the footage of Deadpool dropped, Ryan Reynolds and them leaked it. Well, someone leaked the footage of Deadpool. It was Ryan Reynolds. But when that footage leaked, there was a lot of movement. There was a fan movement for this film to come out. Why this was different is because there was an original Justice League movie. For anybody that's watching this video, you probably already know that. But if you didn't know, there was an original Justice League movie that came out in 2017. Same actors, but different director. The movie was started off with the director, Zack Snyder, who directed Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. Again, kind of like Man of Steel, didn't like Batman vs. Superman at all. So when it came to Justice League, I was willing to give him an opportunity, but I just wasn't sure where this was going. I knew everything was going to look great visually, but what was the story going to be? Was it going to do too much, and was it trying to keep up with Marvel? Well, Zack Snyder had a tragedy. We don't need to get too deep into that. He had a tragedy within his family. He had to step off of the project. In comes Joss Whedon of Avengers fame. Okay, Joss Whedon directed the first two Avengers films. Again, loved the first Avengers film. Didn't really love Ultron so much. So Joss Whedon comes in and essentially reshoots most of the film. There's a lot of infamous things going on. The Ray Fisher drama. Ray Fisher plays Cyborg in this film. There's the Ray Fisher drama. There's the Superman mustache, Henry Cavill mustache drama. A lot of silly things happened with the Justice League movie that came out theatrically. And it did okay financially, but ultimately it killed the DCEU. The DCEU had big plans for their franchise. A Flash movie, a Cyborg movie, the Aquaman movie that did come out, the second Wonder Woman movie that did eventually come out, right? That I didn't like. Oh, I did like Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman movie. I did like that one, but the second Wonder Woman movie was, 84 was horrible. Anyway. So that's the backstory when it comes to the Snyder Cut. It was a fan movement, released the Snyder Cut. People had heard that most of the film had been reshot, so they assumed that Zack Snyder was sitting on essentially a finished film, right? Well, along comes HBO Max, right? HBO trying to get into the streaming game. They start their own streaming service. On the streaming service is almost all of the Warner Brothers and WB content, and of course the DCEU falls under WB. So one of the first things they announce is we're going to release the Snyder Cut. In the nerd world, this is like the Holy Grail. This is something we didn't think existed. We didn't know there was really a Snyder Cut. Oh my God, this is going to happen. So we wait about a year. Some more reshoots happen. Zack Snyder releases photos, teases people, and here we are, a week into it. The Snyder Cut is here. What do I think of the Snyder Cut? Well, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I actually really loved the Snyder Cut. I loved it. I thought it was incredible. Okay, I thought it was incredible, and I think it's a damn shame that they didn't just rock with this version of the film, didn't just finish up what Zack Snyder was trying to do, or bring in Joss Whedon or any director to just come and do some cleanup work, fix this up, shorten it a bit, because in the theaters, and we'll get into that, shorten it a bit, and then put it out, and then start your DCEU. Instead, they thought too much about it. I really enjoyed this. I don't even consider it a film. I consider it a mini series. And that's how I would tell you to watch it. Let's talk about the length of this thing for a minute. This thing is 4 hours and I think 20 minutes long, or 4 hours and 2 minutes, something like that. It's over 4 hours long. It's extremely long. You need to take some time out to watch it. And how I would suggest watching it is by chapters, and the film brilliantly breaks it up into chapters. There's literally a beginning and end point for each chapter of this film. You can start watching it, and then once the screen goes black and it goes chapter 2, you can cut it and watch it another day. Or if you have time like I did and me and my wife did, you can watch all 4 hours of it, because it doesn't feel like a 4-hour film. It feels like a long film, but an extremely good one, especially if you're into these characters. And that's the thing. A lot of people are really into the DC characters, okay? Superman. I mean, you're talking about iconic people here, iconic characters. It's like Superman, The Flash, Wonder Woman, Batman, right? And then people that haven't even entered the film world yet, the Green Lantern. Obviously, we know about the Joker and that Rogues Gallery on the Batman side, right? You're talking about Lex Luthor and other great villains. This is a treasure chest of intellectual property that I feel like deserves a great shot and a good shot and a fair shot at a good movie. So hopefully this won't be the end of that. I thought the storytelling was great. Things that I hated in Justice League, things that I hated in Batman versus Superman were explained in this version of it. It made perfect sense. It made things that I actually looked at in Batman versus Superman. For instance, I'll give you one right now. If you've seen Batman versus Superman, there's a scene where Batman is essentially taking a nap, and the Flash comes in through the future, just like this. The Flash comes in through the future, and he's Bruce, am I too late? Am I too late? It's Lois. She's the key. He says all of this, right? Then they show this dream he's having. He's in this else world, this alternate future, and he's walking around with a trench coat, and it's all, it's apocalyptic, and they showing Superman as a villain, and he's killing people, and the parademons are running the world. None of that was explained in the theatrical cut of Justice League. None of it. It's just they did this thing, and as a comic book fan, I knew what they were referencing. But why don't you address it in the film if you're going to tease it? Poorly done. Well, the Snyder Cut makes up for that, okay? The Ray Fisher drama. All right, now listen. I'm not sitting here calling Josh Whedon or anyone from the Warner Brothers film department, especially on the DC side, racist, okay? And if you aren't familiar with what's been going on with Ray Fisher, the actor that plays Cyborg, who is a black man, okay, I'm going to put some links down below for you to check out what Ray Fisher's been talking about. But there's been some heavy accusations, and he has not let up. He's put his foot on these people's neck, and he refuses to take it off, okay? And without evidence, you're like, well, maybe he's just upset. Who knows what he's talking about? What the hell is he even talking about? Well, when you see this film, you understand. Here is a black man who was his character was initially supposed to be so important to the story, so much so that when they took him out took a bunch of his stuff out of the theatrical cut, it caused the story to make no sense. When you put him back in and put his story back into it, you could tell that Zack Snyder was writing a story around Cyborg. So when he says, "You took me out because I'm a black man," and by the way, his black family, his black father had a more prominent role in this film. The Flash has a black love interest that they show in the film. She's not in the original theatrical cut. It makes a lot of sense. Racism or no, just a bunch of bad decisions being made over at DC, and I'm glad we got an opportunity to see, at least, even if nothing comes from this, and I really do hope something comes from this. There's a Flash movie coming out. Ben Affleck's in it, and by the way, Ben Affleck is a great Batman. I'm glad I got an opportunity to really see him play the character. These people were just so well cast at these characters, and you just needed to see more of them. You needed to see more of them for this to make sense. All of them were great in this film, man. Listen, hopefully we'll see more of this. Racism or no, at the end of the day, what I can tell you, by cutting that film and getting rid of Zack Snyder's vision for the film, they practically ruined their franchise. So to wrap this thing up, I would tell you that you should definitely check out the Snyder Cut. Again, if I were you, because I know we're all busy, you're busy just like me, trust me, life gets the better of us. We don't really have time to sit down and watch 4-hour movies straight, right? How I would tell you to watch it is watch it in chapters. Check it out. That's why it took me a while to come back and review this, because I wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to check out the film, right? Check it out. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the Snyder Cut. I loved it, but if you didn't love it, let's talk about it, all right? Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, please continue to be great. I love you. I'll be back.